is there an emerging problem that is so big that when it fully hits the American economy, the American military phrase shock and awe will be the only way to describe what is the impact of what's going on in the Chinese economy when it hits the global system? With me is Mike Schuster, who is a professor at Portland State University.
Hi, Howard. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for being with us. Mike, why is the Chinese economy a surprising threat?
It's a surprising threat because of number one, the great growth that they have experienced. But then, two, when you look at all the products that are flowing in the world today, but especially those that are being imported from China, when you look at the cost, I mean, we're in great awe to know that almost every product that actually sits on a Walmart shelf, if it was China that had built that line, it's a 20 to 30% less cost than what we can make here in the States.
Even the most efficient,
yes,
the best way we could do it, it's automatically going to be just discounted, or the price would be 30% less. And they still
yes.
are making money over there in their terms.
Yes. And they make money over there because if you look at what the hourly rate is over there, it's about 10% of here. If you go all the way across the United States today and you look at all these very well-built firms that have been around for 80 plus years, and they could be making tile, they can be making any kind of a wood product out there, concrete, just what. The average wage, you know, I'll go all the way across the Midwestern towns, there's somewhere up in the $18 to $20 range for most of a manufacturing job. But now what is going on when you especially look at a Walmart that is asking all the manufacturers to bring the products on the shelf at a 20 to 30% less rate, and then China begins to export and we import those lines and put them onto the Walmart shelf. Generally, a worker in China is getting about 10% what they get here.
So maybe $1.50, $2 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good wage for them.
It is. And so what we're looking at here is, lost jobs. I mean, when you look at the impact and you look at what awe is from the imports that we're taking from China today, the impact is that we have 2.7 million jobs that have been lost, and that was only over a spread of 2 years. And again, China is just beginning to emerge. They've had a 9.5% GDP, as we have discussed, but that growth rate's been going on for only 3 or 4 years. You take that and you compound that many years out there, and you're going to have a flood of imports that are going, onto the Walmart shelf coming from there where the labor rate is so much less.
Well, if the American economy is a little over $11 trillion, and we're throwing huge numbers out there, so nobody can understand this, but we'll just do it. So those that went through high school algebra, and that's almost everybody that got a diploma. So you get $11 trillion in the American economy, and the Chinese alone is up to what?
About 7.8, someplace in there, yes.
So between 7.5 and 8 billion. Then you've got India, 3.5, 4 billion.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So right now they are a match between the two of them for the American economy, but we're only growing at a couple percent per year. They're growing at nearly 10%. What happens in 5 years? Are they 50% larger if this trend continues in their total economy, the value of what they're doing? Are they 50% larger than we are?
Obviously, on the trends that we've saw over the last 2 to 3 years, the answer to that would be yes. If they sustain a 9.5% growth rate, and we sustain only 2.5, and we have a $150 billion deficit with them alone, then that growth rate would suggest that over a certain 3 to 4 years, and perhaps 5 years out, that there's going to be 50% higher in what we would call Chindia than what we have in the U.S.A. economy now.
And if we take a look at what that means in a competition sense, we being addicted to their cheap goods compared to what we'd be able to produce it, and they producing good stuff. It is good stuff, by the way, isn't it?
It is.
It's not junk anymore.
Quality is very high. They're very specialized there now. They have technological advances because, the U.S. firms, of course, have gone over there also. And, all the technological advances that we had in the United States from the larger firms that are there now, they moved that there. So now what you're seeing is, a quality that we hadn't seen before, and a quality that does compare with the products that are made here, only at a 20 to 30% lower cost.
So it's the American, as we heard in the last segment with Rex Sexton, it's the American lust for things that sort of set this whole thing up.
It is. We kept, I think when you look at the Walmart story, in fact, and it's not to pinpoint them, but if you look at the story, we felt that if we got cheaper goods that would be imported into the United States, that actually the standard of living would actually go up, because now we have what is supposed to be the same type of a wage, but now we're buying products down at the, at the Walmart store at a much lower cost. But the bottom line effect of that hasn't been what we had first thought. What really has occurred is that you're losing a lot of our heavy manufacturing jobs, where you have, if you're in a trucking firm or the auto trade, you're up to about $35 an hour. And now what is happening, and it's a bit of an oxymoron that's going on in the United States economy, is that our middle class that is in the manufacturing plant lose those jobs, because now that job is exported over to China.
But they can work at Walmart.